Welcome to Goons Farm. Thank you for joining us.
The inaugural version of Goons Farm. We want to have a video where we're bringing out the things that we find interesting in the world, hopefully on a regular basis, weekly.
Our opinions,
our thoughts on what's going
takes.
on. We're going to do stuff on pop culture, TV, movies, music, stuff's going on in the world. Funny videos we find on the internet, whatever amuses us, whatever we want to do, and kind of.
If it amuses us, we hope it amuses everybody. It's kind of the theory.
That's the point.
And even if not, at least it amuses us. So
yeah, at the end of the day, that's
really all I give a shit about.
At the end of the day, that's all that matters is us.
Yeah. Well, clearly, look at your mug.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Well, I don't know, but
so now go to the outline. What's up next?
What's next is a segment I would like to call "Rest in Peace Baby Names."
Rest in peace, yeah. So the point of rest in peace baby names, as I understand it, is people that are naming their kids nowadays, they kind of have a trend, and baby names follow these trends over the years, where
Yes.
where certain names become really popular and they last for a while, and then they sort of fade away. So
Fade away, and then you eventually will never see or hold or touch or meet a baby that with these names that we all grew up with, and they were common.
And you meet adults with these names all the time.
And we're friends with a lot of people
Absolutely.
with these names, and I'm not bashing their name.
No,
but I just have a very strong hunch these names will not be used in the future.
No,
There will never be a time now where a new proud mommy and a daddy are going to hold their little baby, look down at it, and then assign it this list of names that we have in front of us.
They're essentially names that are dying out. So that's why it's rest in peace. Baby
Some are
names.
funny, some not so funny, but it's just simply pointing out that I don't believe these names are going to stand the test of time.
And if you know any babies that have some of these names, we'd love to hear.
Send a photo of the baby.
We'd
so
love
we
to
can
hear
mock
about it.
the baby.
Well, yeah, babies.
maybe
We'll mock the parents
and the baby.
Yeah.
But here's I have a list of a few.
All right.
So I'm going to just share a few. You let me know if you agree, and if you have any that are not on my list, feel free to add them.
Okay.
I don't believe I will never hold a baby named Chad ever again. I don't believe I'll ever hold another baby named Gary.
No. There's without a doubt.
I don't even think I've ever met a teenager named Gary.
Well, I mean, I knew some
Other than ones that we grew up with.
When I was a teenager, I did, but there's none. Gary is a name of the past.
See you, Gary. I'm sorry, but I don't think that name continues forward.
What if your name is Gary and you're just hell-bent on naming your kid Junior?
Well, juniors are obviously going to be the exception to this rule because clearly a lot of people are.
Or if you're named Gary, would you decide, you know what?
It's got to end with me.
The
buck stops here.
I'm the last Gary in this family.
I
so.
carried the torch.
Yeah.
He knows the pain.
Yes, exactly.
He knows what that was like.
He spent a lifetime of Gary.
A few others. I don't want to get too hung up on Gary because there's definitely more. Keith.
No, there's no baby Keiths.
Baby Keith. For some reason, when I hear the word or the name Keith, I always will have a mental image that pops into my head of a jean jacket and a Camaro. and long, like, fluffy, feathered hair. That, to me, is a Keith.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a Keith.
And probably in his day, was a wide receiver or quarterback for his high school football team. Got a little bit of ass, but now he's the ass because his name is Keith.
He's not. He went from getting ass to becoming one. and God help us if he names his kid Keith.
Ugh, Keith Jr. All right. Phil.
Phil.
There's never a baby named Phil.
How about could there be a baby Philip? Because
Philip, I think, would fall under the junior thing because there's always the Philip the Third. Philip,
Yeah.
Philip probably will, but Phil. I'm not talking.
No,
Philip.
I know, but most Philips end up being called Phil, don't they? Or no?
See,
Do you know anybody named Philip that's not called Phil?
that sticks to Philip. Probably not. I mean,
Well, I wouldn't really want to actually.
no. I'd move on. I'd be like, nice meeting you.
There's really no Phil babies.
Roger.
Roger, no.
Roger's probably, I mean, I don't know if I've ever met someone under the age of 25 named Roger.
I can't say that I have. And you know, in
In
our
my
lifetime,
whole life.
Yeah, no.
Every Roger I've ever known, I
have an-
perceive them as an old person.
Yeah, I have an uncle named Roger, so I always think about him. And
My old neighbor was named Roger, and he had 2 black labs. One of them
Named
had a
Phil.
name that was on here, I believe.
Phil and Keith.
It was Neil.
All right, we haven't got to Neil yet.
Neil's always last.
But Neil, Neil's a good one too. There's no baby Neils laying around.
No, there's no baby Neils. And one last one. Well, it doesn't have to be our last one, but one that I think it definitely needs to be discussed is Lance.
You don't think the Lance Bass has influenced any?
Well, I think Lance Bass secured that it will never
That-
move
that-
forward.
that
He
the
is
name
the
is-
last Lance.
he's the
I bet
final-
if we checked hospital records,
He's the final Lance.
the Lance.
Well, the problem. This is the thing. Lance was a kind of a dumb name to begin with. I'm sorry to anyone named Lance, but that's just a dumb name. I mean, it's named
Just
after a medieval.
Pants. It rhymes with pants.
It's like a medieval. What is it, Lancelot and all that? I mean,
Sir Lancelot.
well, are there any Lancelots in the world? Lancelot Link.
Oh, the evolution revolution.
I know that. There should be baby Lancelots then, right?
You know, why can't that come back?
Well,
There's remakes of all these things going on in Hollywood right now with shows, movies. What the hell ever happened to Lancelot Link and the Evolution Revolution? And if you don't know what that is, please hop on your internet machine and go look at it because it's priceless. I have tons of childhood memories of watching that, and I forgot what cable network it was on, but damn funny. And these orangutans played their own instruments in that band.
what?
And when they weren't in the band, they were detectives. You tell me where you're going to find orangutans who are detectives and rock stars at night.
So they actually played the instruments.
It sure looked like they did. I don't know how much peanut butter they had to go through wiping it on their gums to
Make 'em look like they're singing?
lip sync, but
Well, maybe. I don't know. But the singing is one thing, but they actually were strumming guitars and playing drums and everything, right?
yeah. I mean, every instrument you could think of was a big band.
It was not a good band. It was a big band, but not a good band.
Anyway, those are just a few, just a quick snapshot of some names that we believe have died, and we will never hear or see them again, especially assigned to a new, young, cute little baby.
Again, if you know someone who's under the age of 5 with any of these names, please share it with us. We'd love to meet this kid.
So rest in peace, baby names.